So in the previous video, we have checked what is DOM tree, document object model. What is DOM tree? So whatever the code that we have in our HTML, right? When we open this .html file, all the code inside this HTML file will be converted into a DOM tree like this one by the browser, okay? And then it will parse this tree-like structure one by one, like this. It goes down while parsing the tree. So since this is the DOM, we understood DOM is nothing but the elements that we have inside our HTML file will be stored in a single object. So if it is in an object, we can surely access them and do something with it. Okay. So what do we mean by that? When we have this DOM, right? If I want to target this h1 tag right here, I can do that. After targeting, I can add, delete, or modify anything and everything inside this HTML tag, HTML document that I have right here. So what are we essentially doing? So whatever the DOM tree we have here, we are doing operations on this DOM. We are doing some manipulations on this DOM. That we call it as DOM manipulation. So how do we do that? We cannot do it in just HTML with HTML. Okay, we do the DOM manipulation with the help of JavaScript. So what is JavaScript? When we have the HTML, right, it is just for the structure, how we want the elements to be displayed on the screen. What is CSS for? CSS is for giving the special styles for each of the tags, each of the elements on the screen. What is JavaScript for? It is to add interaction for the elements on the screen. So for suppose I have this, it is not doing anything. It is, if I go to my VS Code, it is not doing anything. So I have used HTML h1 tag. It is just render it on the screen as expected. I have this button tag. Let's go to text. I have this button, but it is not doing anything. But this should not be the case, right? So when we have a web page, it should be rendered, as well as when I do something, the user should be interacting with the web page. So to add the interaction, we have a JavaScript scripting language that will help us in order to add the interaction for the web page. Going back, we use JavaScript in order to interact with the web page, in order to add brains, add logic to our HTML file, HTML page. When we're trying to do some manipulations on the DOM, this DOM tree, or when we're trying to do access, when we're trying to do anything, any operations on this DOM tree, that we call as DOM manipulation. And inside this elements we have, right, we call these elements as DOM elements. We mentioned that this is nothing but an object, right? And all of our HTML code will be residing in this single document object by the browser, inside the browser. So let's suppose if I console log just that, let's see what we can see this document. It is nothing but the code we have inside our HTML. So when I console logged it, I can see something. If I expand it, as you can see, it is nothing but our code. Since we know that we have a representation for the DOM, we can do operations on it, right? So if I do document.body, what do we expect? We expect it to console log this tag right here. So it is what it is. Okay. Just like, since it is an object, we access every property inside this object with a dot operator. Okay. So inside this body also, many functions, many properties, many usable stuff that we have here, we can use in order to change something with this one. So okay. If I go here and then type inner HTML, it is one function where it will display whatever the content inside this tag. So suppose what I have selected in the document, I have selected body tag, and then I want to see what's inside this body tag. That I can do using this function right here, inner.html. What it is printing, whatever the content I have inside the body tag, it is printing that. That is it. So DOM manipulation is nothing but accessing and doing manipulations, doing operations with the elements that we have inside the DOM is called the DOM manipulation. Next up we can see what are all the ways we can access the elements inside the DOM.